An RNC Chief Strategist and Communications Director, Sean Spicer. Sean, first, congratulations on an unbelievable victory.
Well, good morning and thank you.
Be honest, did you think you'd get north of 240 electoral votes?
We knew there was a path, that we had the momentum, and you saw the number of people that were coming out and waiting in line in those rallies the last couple of days. And when you do this and you're this invested, you know, on either side, frankly, because I know the Clinton campaign would say the same thing, you have to have that hope and you have to believe that. But I don't think that I ever thought that I'd see a number go north of 279 and see states like Michigan and some of the counties in Wisconsin that went heavily for Obama that flipped to Trump. So this victory is one that was, you know, up and down the ticket, and the Trump movement and message really resonated from one coast to another.
Let's talk transition. What happened to Governor Christie?
I don't know. I know that obviously, you know, Mr. Trump has a ton of faith in Governor Pence and his connections and his stature in Washington. He's been a very successful governor, and he's been a very successful member of the House of Representatives. And I think now that we're in that phase, he obviously wanted to look at some of the people that would lead that transition more carefully, more thoroughly, and he made a decision.
Reportedly, Mr. Trump said that it was because of Governor Pence's contacts and experience in Washington that he wanted him to play this lead role for the transition. But if, in fact, he's turning to Governor Pence because of experience in D.C. and cultivating names like Giuliani and Gingrich, maybe even Jamie Dimon, it doesn't sound like the swamp is getting drained if you're relying on the same old faces.
Well, I don't think those are all the same old faces. I mean, Mayor Giuliani's never held a post in Washington, D.C., and in a senior post like this. Jamie Dimon hasn't. Not that I know anything about those names, but I think more importantly than the names, it's the vision. You know, leadership starts at the top, and I think everybody who comes into a Trump administration will understand what's expected of them to change how this government operates and is more responsive to the American people and tries to lift people up and end bureaucracy and get things like veterans care to those who need it most.
Your boss, Reince Priebus, reportedly under consideration, as is Steve Bannon, for the position of Chief of Staff. Do you worry about the message that would be sent if, in fact, it's Bannon? Given his controversial past, I mean, he is a lightning rod. You've got to admire the skill set that he used in the campaign, but he's a lightning rod. If he is the chief of staff, what message does that send?
Well, again, I don't. We're basically not even 100 hours out from one of the most historic elections in modern history, and I think that there's going to be plenty of time for Mr. Trump to make staff decisions, and for people for him to articulate why he has chosen different people to carry out various roles and implement his vision. So I don't want to get the cart before the horse. We'll let Mr. Trump make those decisions as to who he will ask to serve in his administration at an appropriate time.
Hey, Sean, at the outset of the program, I said, he's my president. You know, I am of the opinion, and I would have said the same thing if it were Hillary Clinton today, that he is deserving of a fresh start. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that he has an obligation to be conciliatory? I ask that question because the likes of Pat Buchanan and Rush Limbaugh pretty much say, I'm paraphrasing, we won, we've got both houses, and, you know, let's go full on now with our agenda. There's no need to be looking leftward as we advance. What do you say?
Well, I think tone matters, and I think Mr. Trump struck that tone early Wednesday morning when he talked about what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it and how he wanted to bring people together. He struck a similar tone during his meetings at Capitol Hill and in the Oval Office with President Obama. There's a big difference, though. I think when it comes to setting his agenda and understanding that, frankly, the mandate that the American people gave him from around the country, they want him to do what he said he was going to do. They want him to bring the change. They want him to enact policies that are going to look after the American worker, the American family, business owners. I think Mr. Trump wants everybody who understands that the American people spoke very loudly and very clearly on Tuesday, that they are ready for change, that they want an end to the status quo, that they're tired of the excuses and they want to see things getting done. If you want to be part of that, then you're welcome to join, and we welcome you to that movement.
I don't know which President Trump we're going to get. I look at the past 48 hours with regard to these protesters, and you know he sent out successive tweets, the first that was critical of the media and referred to the protesters as being unfair, and then he followed it up Friday morning, and Friday morning he was saying, you know, democracy is a wonderful thing, and I want to embrace everybody, and he was much more conciliatory. I mean, explain that dichotomy to me and tell me which of those two is about to become the president.
Everyone has a transition period from being a candidate to going into the governing phase, if you will. And he is in that phase now of okay, the campaign is over. I'm now about to assume the presidency of the United States. And so there is a sort of a transition into that phase. But he's clearly struck the right tone on the second tweet, where he talks about the beauty of our country and our First Amendment rights and the ability to go out there and express ourselves. And yet we want them to, you know, everybody who, you know, may not have voted for him to understand that we welcome them to be part of this. We want their support. We hope that they will give Mr. Trump and Governor Pence an opportunity to lead this country and to be part of the process and to have their voice heard.
You've run communications for the RNC. You're the chief strategist. You run communications for the RNC. I have a serious question. Do you believe that he sent both of those tweets himself?
I assume so, yeah.
You assume, you're not sure? I mean, did you ask him?
Well, I wasn't with him, so I don't know. But this is Mr. Trump's not a guy who you know, he's very clear about, you know, he speaks for himself, and so I don't think that somebody just randomly did that. That wouldn't be in keeping with how he operates.
But I know, but there's no consistency there. They just don't. They truly don't seem to be coming from the same person, which is why I ask.
Again, I think we're making a lot to do about nothing. He understands the role that he's playing now. I think the tone that he struck in his meetings on Capitol Hill and with the president, the comments that he made early Wednesday morning, are what you're going to continue to see. Someone who really truly cares about this nation, who wants to do better, who wants to enact policies that are going to help every segment of this country, who wants to be inclusive. So I think you're going to continue to see more and more of that now that the campaign phase is slowly fading away.
All right, final question. You clearly have the credentials to be the White House press secretary. Do you think you have the temperament? I ask that because I don't think I would. I don't think I'd be able to stand at that podium and maintain. I'd be doing a slow burn. I don't think that I could maintain my cool listening to some of that back and forth with the press corps. Do you have the temperament?
Well, I'll tell Mr. Trump you're not interested. But I enjoy my job now. I'm honored that I've been able to be part of this movement, this campaign, and frankly, this party. It's been an honor to have this position, and I thank PRIEBUS for giving me this opportunity. And you know, look, I love this country.
That's an answer that a press secretary. That's an answer that a press secretary would give. That's a good answer. That's good. You're qualified. You're in. Sean, thank you. I'm out of time, but thank you so much.